Okay, so I gotta start this off with a little bit of an explanation of how I choose stories to cover on this channel. Normally, what I look for is stories that are indicative of broader policy, not just stories that will shock you, not the most heinous, not the most violent, because that's not the point of what I do on this channel. I'm very interested in criminal justice related policy. I'm very interested in what can be changed in order to improve the lives of people across this country, and I'm not so much interested in just, hey, this is horrible, look at that, let's all gawk and basically be ambulance chasers about the horrible story. That being said, occasionally there is a story that is out there. It crosses my wire. Sometimes, more likely than not, it is sent to me by my brother, like this particular story, that is so absurd, so ridiculous, it has no such broader policy implications at all whatsoever, but we have to cover it. We have to talk about it just purely for the ridiculousness of that story, and today is one of those days. Today we're going to talk about robbers who stole a driveway from a single mother's household. They stole the driveway, the whole driveway, the entire thing. I've never heard of such sorcery, but that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to say thank you to everybody who signed up over at actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
And thank you to the podcast listeners, Spotify, Apple, and Google's podcasting platform.
It's the season of property crimes, but this one goes above and beyond. Good evening, I'm Rafael Puris.
And I'm Carla Ray. Tonight, deputies are investigating after someone ran off with an Orange County woman's driveway while she was at work. You heard that right.
So even the local news segment knows that this is shocking and ridiculous. That's why they added the little "you've heard that right." And I've looked into this, I've dissected this story, I've analyzed all the forensic evidence personally, and yes, in fact, the driveway is missing as pictured by the local news.
The family was already on the clock because they're trying to buy another house. They say this has put that in jeopardy.
Come home and my driveway's gone.
So one of the things that is quite notable about this driveway theft, other than the fact that I just said a sentence with the word driveway theft in it, is the fact that this property is basically all driveway. It's not a small New York driveway like I have in front of my building or in front of my old building because my new building doesn't actually have one. This is a real thing. This is probably covering 75% of the entire property, at least lengthwise, and that's what makes this even more ridiculous and absurd. On top of that, it's actually quite a sad story because you have a woman, single mother, she's actually on the cusp signing paperwork, trying to buy a new home, but she needs to sell this home in order to make that go, but obviously missing a driveway and living in a neighborhood where theft is so prominent they steal entire driveways is going to bring down the value of that property and potentially put that new home at risk, trash her credit, and ruin the sale of her old home. It's actually pretty sad of a story, a pretty bad tale.
Amanda Brochu isn't exaggerating. What used to be a concrete slab outside 1438 Bethesda Street is now a patch of dirt that she didn't ask for. Someone took her driveway as she was trying to get ready for Christmas.
Of all the things that you worried about getting stolen, did you think the driveway was one of them?
No, not at all.
But I will not be dissuaded by the fact that there are real-world implications and consequences for this. I will focus solely on the fact that an entire driveway was stolen by a criminal, and I have no idea for the life of me what that criminal intends to do with it. Does that person own their own property, their own house, where they have a dirt patch and they measured it out and realized that this is actually the same exact size? Are we going to have a situation where they have to exhume the driveway from that property and try to fit it in over here like a Cinderella kind of tale? Who the hell knows? I hope they catch this person because I'm dying to figure out what the hell is going on with this particular theft.
Brochu says it all started when she put her home up for sale. Strange contractors started coming by, measuring her driveway. Her son counted 5 of them. One told Brochu a Tampa area man identified as Andre asked them to price out a replacement. Text messages supplied by the contractor showed Andre asking the contractors for an estimate and giving the Bethesda Street address. But Andre was out of town when this contractor asked for an in-person meeting and then cut off communication when asked for proof of ownership.
So this is obviously incredibly odd and weird. Now, granted, I've never bought a home nor sold a home throughout my entire life because I'm a millennial, and such options have been lost to me since I became an adult during the housing crisis of 2008. but is this normal when you put up your home for sale and some random guy who only gives his first name, Andre, shows up and he starts measuring out your driveway in order to replace it, and then through a series of text messages, he ends up giving the address of this property, and your son notices that 5 people are eyeing this driveway, they're coveting this driveway. I mean, I'm pretty sure we have commandments about this. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's driveway, but apparently these were irreligious thieves, among other things. And then all of a sudden, one day it's missing while that contractor happens to be out of town. Seems like he was looking for an alibi for what proved to be one of the greatest heists in the history of the world. On top of that, 5 guys to carry that driveway. Look at how long it is. Look at the size of that driveway. I don't believe it. I think you needed 100 people, unless these 5 people were in the Fast and Furious crew, aka the greatest heisters in the history of all of cinema, absent all those other better heist movies that actually make sense and don't defy the laws of physics.
After the cops spoke to them, they called me back and they said that he said it was a mistake. He just got the address wrong. Nothing else will happen again.
1 week later, this image from Brochu's doorbell camera captured a bulldozer tearing out the concrete and hauling it away.
So we have footage from one of those like home surveillance things that Ring puts out, or maybe this is a different company, of them bringing a bulldozer. I guess this makes more sense than 5 guys just lifting the driveway on their own. But again, the question is why? Why are they stealing the driveway? I don't quite understand it. I have tried to puzzle this out for days now, trying to figure out the motivation, trying to figure out if there's a secondary market, searching eBay listings for a driveway that's 75 feet long, but I have come up with nothing at this point in time.
Utter shock. I've never seen this before. I've never had this happen to myself or anyone in our office.
So obviously, this is not something that you would come across as a real estate agent very often or at all. However, I will say I'm actually quite disappointed that she doesn't have a record of driveway thefts that are possibly tied to her office. I'm looking to solve a mystery right here, and normally what ends up happening is that it is the crime that is committed by some kind of property owner who's trying to drive down the prices in order to buy it on the cheap, and that way he wants to get the resources that are under the property. And yes, I did go to detective school at Scooby-Doo Academy, so I am expecting this person to be wearing a Halloween mask, scaring a bunch of people away from the property, and then that ultimately ending up leading to him being unmasked by a bunch of children. But regardless of the likelihood, being in and around 95% that this is a Scooby-Doo like drive the property value down so that you could buy it on the cheap kind of scam, we still don't have solid answers, and the real estate company would be the first place that I would look in order to figure out what the hell is going on, because obviously there's some treasure under this household, there's some gold, there's some pirates that abandoned some stuff there. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe the Library of Alexander is under this particular driveway or inside the driveway. I've seen National Treasure, but I don't have a lot of answers honestly based on this, and it's kind of shocking to me that they're not pulling up everybody's driveway, because you think when you're stealing driveways, you don't start on one that is extraordinarily long, especially when compared to what I experienced living in a big city.
Real estate agent Rocky Sanchez is helping Brochu sell her home. Real estate agent Rocky Sanchez.
Now look, I just want to make something 100% clear for those of you out there in the audience. What I'm about to say, it's a joke. Unless at some point in the future there is actually an arrest and the person that I'm about to accuse of this crime does in fact get arrested, tried, and convicted, I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. No need to sue me for defamation. But the thing is that I just realized is that I think I have a suspect, and the suspect is in fact the real estate broker. And the reason she is in fact the suspect is because her first name or her whole name is Rocky Sanchez, and I just don't believe that. First and foremost, Sanchez, it's essentially Smith in Spanish language, just so you guys know, in case you guys were curious. But Rocky, really? I've never met a Latina, man or woman, a Latinx, a Latinat, a Latine, named Rocky in my entire life. I do not believe that her name is Rocky. I believe she is subtly trying to hint that she is in fact the one who stole the driveway. Because think about it, the driveway was in the earth, in the dirt, and where do rocks live? In the earth, in the dirt. Solve the case right there. Detective Sean, give me my award. I know you did it, okay? We here at the AJW channel are not, in fact, detectives. We, in no way, shape, or form, are accusing anybody of committing any kind of crime or anything like that because we have no evidence for it, and again, it's all just jokes.
She posted about the situation in a Facebook group for realtors and believes Brochu is the victim of a scam. But neither woman knows what the scam is.
Had multiple people come forward saying that they've seen things like this happen, whether it be driveways, roofs, painting, even outside the exterior. So it happens more often than we actually see it.
So Rocky Sanchez, the prime suspect in this particular crime, is saying that she is the victim of some kind of scam. Now, she claims that she doesn't know what the scam is, but then she says that they're getting reports and they're being contacted with a bunch of similar scams that appear to have no objective at all whatsoever, which include the theft of roofs, the painting of houses, or the theft of paint. Not exactly sure what the hell she's talking about right there. And eventually, you'll uncover what Rocky, I mean the real criminal, is doing in the future if you just look into these scams that appear to have no purpose. Again, maybe, just maybe, somebody wanted that driveway. It looked too good to pass up. It looked delicious, so they wanted to install it in their own property, but I don't really know. All I know is, again, Rocky coming off quite suspicious.
Deputies have launched a criminal investigation into the situation.
Actually, you know what? That cat did it right there. That cat is guilty. The cat just wanted a bigger place to have a litter box, and soft dirt that was under the concrete likely is the source of the litter box location, whatever.
But Brochu needs additional help. She says she just replaced the roof and made other investments and doesn't have the $10,000 she's been quoted to replace the concrete. If she doesn't fix the driveway and sell the home in the next 2 weeks, she'll lose out on the home she's under contract to buy down the road.
No one's gonna buy this. This brings down the property now, and that just messes it up for me and my family.
So look, all joking aside, even though the story is ridiculous and absurd, and even though I have my suspicions about who happens to be behind this happened right before Christmas. This ends up bringing down the value of the property, and she has 2 weeks to sell this property in order to make good on the new property in order to actually, get that house. So she's under contract for it. The deal could fall apart, and it's absolutely tragic. And there is a GoFundMe set up. I will link that in the description of this video if you want to support her. But overall, this is a strange and odd and amusing story, and I kind of want to thank the criminal for doing this because I don't understand what the hell happened to go on right here. But at the same time, I fully condemn the criminal and the crime, and I feel really bad for this mother who's just trying to get a different house, move up a little bit in life, and she ends up getting smacked down by one of the oddest crimes that you could possibly imagine. But then again, those just happen to be my thoughts. You might have some different thoughts related to this. Maybe you have alternative suspects. Maybe you out there in the audience are in fact the driveway bandit, and if you are, let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the oddest heist ever. Till next time.